In a world of horror, countless hours of cinema, what is truly terrifying? What will keep the kids up at night? What scene can never be unseen? Join us as we watch everything horror and discover the 13 degrees of screams.
Welcome, 13 Degrees of Screams.
We're your hosts, Stephanie.
And Alex.
And this week we steal the identity of an online personality and influencer.
So, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Had you seen Influencer before we watched it for the podcast?
No. Actually, I saw that we were kind of lacking on our movies for upcoming stuff. So I was like, movies to watch in 2023, 2022, or whatever. And this one came up. And I was like, all right. And I just was like, you want to watch it? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah. It was more simplistic, I guess, than I thought it would be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I liked it. It kind of reminded me of Fresh with the whole, delayed credit start.
Oh, yeah. It took a long time for that
Yeah,
to
it was like 20
show
minutes
up.
in.
I was like, oh, okay.
And I was like, I don't know. I felt like I had seen it, but I was like, oh, I guess not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
yeah. Like the title card. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What did you think about it?
I was very pleasantly surprised. I did my rating, and I didn't even watch the trailer. I more just saw screenshots, and I was like, I'm just gonna take a stab at this.
Yeah,
I have no idea about this movie. Never even heard of it. I wanted to go in completely blind, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, good.
Nick also watched this with me.
Yeah,
and we both really liked it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah, we were it was suspenseful, and I was on the edge of my seat, and I was very invested. And I was rooting for the one girl. We'll get to it in the plot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought the acting was really good, too.
I think it was an interesting perspective to take, too, because not following the victim the whole time. Because I was, expecting it to be all about this first girl.
Me, too. Yeah. I really liked it. I want to watch it again, honestly.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
It was good.
Yeah. Ready to get into some movie background?
Yeah.
So, Influencer is a 2022 American psychological horror film directed by Curtis David Harder, who co-wrote the movie with Tesh Gudakanda. Influencer had its world premiere on October 16th, 2022 at the Brooklyn Horror Film Festival. The film went on to screen at other film festivals and was picked up by the streaming service Shudder, which released the movie as one of its Shudder originals in May 2023. There wasn't much information on this movie, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 91%, and the critical consensus stating, Influencer should get plenty of likes from horror fans hungry for smart, scary chiller with something to say. And then this audience score is 70%.
Okay.
I'm more with the critics. I liked it more than 70%.
I would say about 75.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because I like a lot of true crime and docuseries kind of things about scams and cons and stuff like that. And I mean, this is a little bit more extreme than a con, but
is it though?
Dirty John is sort of similar to this. Have you ever heard of that? So yeah, there's this first season. There's two actually, but it's unrelated stories. So they're all their own stories. But there's this show on Netflix called Dirty John. And it's about a man that cons his way into this woman's life, and she marries him and everything. And he's just taking over her life, her money, kicks her daughter out, tries to kill her daughter at one point.
Oh my God.
It's pretty serious, but very interesting, but also wow, you're just ignoring a lot of red flags.
Just a couple.
Yeah, but he kind of reminds me of the girl in this too, just very persistent. Even when people get skeeved out by her, she just keeps coming. Yeah. So I think that's why I was kind of more prepared for what this was going to be about.
Okay.
So maybe that's why I wasn't I love it.
Oh, I don't know. I really liked it. I don't know why. It was just I don't know. I thought the lead actress was so good.
Yes, she is good. She's very creepy.
Yes. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. I thought the pacing was great. Mm-hmm. The intrigue was there. It actually tugged on some heartstrings at some points.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought it was a very well done movie.
Right. Can we talk about her birthmark, though?
Yeah.
So I was expecting them to bring it up because I was I feel like that's the whole reason she's doing this. She doesn't feel like she's pretty enough to do this whole social media thing. Mm-hmm. But I was also I guess I respect them for not bringing it up because it's actually her face. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they bring it up in the sense of... I guess
it doesn't matter either way, you know?
Yeah, they bring it up in the sense of he says the girl with the birthmark.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it because it wasn't made a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
As someone with, like, a lot of moles myself, you know, I'm very self-conscious about that sometimes, so it's, like, nice for them to not make it a thing.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that personally. I was like, okay, yeah, like... Yeah,
I didn't know going into it was her birthmark. I was just like, oh, they're definitely going to bring this up. And I was like, I better just look her up to make sure this isn't really. And I was like, oh, it is. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's nice, though, because also it kind of feeds into the stigma that anyone that looks different from you is bad.
Yeah, so. And you have to, like, make it a big deal kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually read an article with her about it. And, you know, a lot of people said that she should get it removed, but it could cause scarring, blah, blah, blah. But she actually really likes it, makes her unique and different, and she actually embraces it, which I think is really nice.
Yeah.
So to embrace your differences and stuff like that.
Of course.
So I really like that like no one batted an eyelash or made any kind of deal about it.
Right.
That was just part of her. And
yeah. Well, I mean, you could also look like, I mean, granted, she's very pretty too, but I mean, you could look completely like, you know, average standards of beauty and still be a psycho. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like what she's portraying, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, anyone could be a psycho. You never know. You can't trust nobody these days.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Never, ever.
Never, ever.
So would you like to hear about the plot?
Yes.
So we start off by zooming in on an island with a body laying on the shore.
Oh my fucking gosh, you fucking dead.
Yeah. I was like, oh, who that? And they're like, don't matter.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. We're just like, oh, okay.
Then we cut to Madison, an influencer, on a working vacation in Thailand to promote herself and several advertisers. On the outside, it all appears very glamorous and fun, but in reality, Madison is sad traveling alone as her boyfriend Ryan canceled on her last minute and spends most of her time sitting around her hotel. While hanging out in the hotel lounge, an older man starts hitting on her, and another guest, CW, gives her an out so she doesn't have to keep talking to him.
What do you think CW stands for? Because we don't ever know.
I don't know, but it's hard not to think DW from, like, Arthur.
Oh, I can see that.
For me.
I'm going to go with Charleston Worthington.
Oh.
That's her name.
I don't know. I assumed...
You didn't even read that. You're like, maybe.
I love, like, baby name TikTok and stuff like that. Like, people just coming up with weird-ass names. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Baby name TikTok?
Yeah.
What's
you could just
that?
look up people, like, naming things. It's good for character inspo if you want future kids and stuff.
Oh, they're just, like, actual names?
Yeah,
like,
just
normal
like,
names?
like unique names, top 100 unique names, top 100 common names and stuff like that. Names that mean river or something.
Names that mean river?
Yeah. It's fun.
Do you have any examples?
I can show you 100, honestly, but... Recently, I watched a TikTok that did name ChatGPT, basically, and just went on to the website and described, like, what they thought that they were having. So, boy or girl, like, what kind of style of name they'd like to have, what kind of letter they wanted it to start with. And then ChatGPT just gave her a big list of names that fit those criteria. And it was interesting.
Was there any name that stood out to you? I'm just so curious.
Oh, I mean, I've seen so many of them, I'm probably almost desensitized now.
Okay.
So whenever I see a name, I'm like, huh.
So when I said Charleston Worthington, you just had no reaction. That makes sense now.
Yeah. Charleston Worthington, the same name. Everyone.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I do have an example, though. I just thought of it. For instance, there's this one girl that she posts, like, the names of babies that were born, like, that week or something like that. Like, this site that mothers can go on and post the baby's name. Mm-hmm. And she noticed that there's a trend with giving your child, at least mostly your girl child, the middle name Darling. So it's like Wendy Darling from Peter Pan.
Oh, okay.
Or something like that. And it's cute, but also like, oh, strange trend.
Yeah, I like that. You know what I like? I think I mentioned this. I like gender-neutral names, or if your name is usually associated with other gender.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Like, I don't like my name as a boy name, but a girl Alex is, like, the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah. Or, like, I really like the name Blair for a guy.
Oh, really?
I love that. Mm-hmm.
I like the name Blair for our middle name, but not for a boy.
That's fair. Or, like, Max for a girl.
Oh, okay.
Love that. Or Danny for a girl.
Mm-hmm. I do like D names, for girls especially.
Danica.
You're going to hate it. But I used to really be obsessed with the name Davini from Notebook.
Davini?
Yeah.
From the Notebook?
Yeah, it's their grandchild's name. They just meet her briefly, and they're like, what an interesting name.
Is that in the movie?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
And I was like, indeed, an interesting name.
It's interesting.
Yeah, and because I like the nickname Davy for a girl. I think it's cute.
Yeah, I really love even Ashley for a boy, because that's actually like a pretty gender-neutral name in some...
And that's how they were originally, though. Ashley was meant for boys.
Yeah, or Leslie originally. For a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I really like that. I think it's cool. But anyways, I digress. Charleston Worthington.
Charleston Worthington the third.
The wannabe influencer.
Yes. So the two become fast friends, and CW takes her to several tourist hotspots. One night, Madison returns to find her hotel room has been broken into, and her passport was stolen.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's very bad for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we already learned that from, what was the one movie we watched? With the guy on the island cloning himself? Oh, Infinity Pool. Yes.
Da, 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 da. We got there.
We already learned that not having your passport is not a good time.
Yeah, but spoiler alert, in Infinity Pool, he
wanted that to happen.
Wanted it to be missing.
Right.
Bitch.
CW convinces her to extend her vacation and stay with her while she awaits her new passport to arrive. She agrees, but when she tells Ryan what happened, he's unsympathetic and assumes she somehow wanted this to happen.
Dude, Ryan sucked at this moment.
Yeah, I was like, you already bailed on her not to come with her. She should be mad at you.
Right.
And now you've made her vacation infinitely worse by saying, like, also, it's your fault that you're not coming back.
Although at that point, I would have been like, fine, screw you. I'm happy to be stuck here. Because, like, it's a very pretty... Where they're at. Were they in Thailand? Or just
Thailand? I don't know specifics.
I don't remember.
Wherever they said.
But some beautiful foreign country that I'm like, I could live there.
Yeah,
I could just
pretty.
live on the beach. Mm-hmm. And the house that they live in is, like, overlooking the water.
Yeah, I mean, just at her hotel, it's pretty. I was like, I don't even need to leave. You can just look at the stuff outside the hotel.
Exactly.
They argue briefly, and Madison breaks up with him. Soon after, CW takes her to an isolated island with no cell reception as a surprise break from social media. Madison jokes that if she didn't know better, she'd think CW took her here to kill her. And I was like, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, she's like, hi, you're going to kill me.
And CW badly quips back that she wouldn't just kill her. She'd just leave in the middle of the night and let her starve to death and the crabs could eat her. And I'm like, ha, 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 goodbye.
Yeah, Madison thinks she's kidding. Who jokes about that?
It was so specific. It was even more detailed than that. It was like,
oh yeah,
there's like no water. You'd starve. Like
about in like 3 to 4 days, you'll wither away, but it won't even hurt. I was like, okay, yeah, but she was also drunk, so I guess I'll give Madison a pass.
I don't know how you'd hear something like that and not be like, I'm stealing this boat in the middle of the night and fuck her.
Yeah. I don't know what she gave her to drink, but it was enough to knock her out.
Yeah. But cut to the morning, and CW does just that.
Bye.
Almost exactly what she said.
Yeah, it's almost like she literally told you what was going to happen.
What was going to be happening.
So, I mean, like, who's that on? Totally.
Mm-hmm. CW then returns so that she can enjoy living Madison's lifestyle with Madison's passport. She edits her photos and voice to post as Madison on social media, but quickly becomes bored, posting as Madison that she's taking a break from social media before focusing in on her next target. She finds another influencer, Jessica, online and follows her to create a chance encounter. At first, Jessica doesn't seem to want to be friends, but CW does more research and changes her tactics, acting more like Madison for sympathy rather than a savvy travel buddy as she was with Madison. So, like, she tries to, like, approach her in a store and be like, that's fake, whatever you're holding. And she's just like,
okay,
I don't care. Bye.
Yeah, she's like, some bullshit for my sister. I'm like, okay.
I was kind of, like, hoping that she would just continually strike out with this woman.
The rest of the movie?
The rest of the movie is just her bad attempts to con this woman.
Yeah. That would have been interesting if that, and she, like, eventually snaps. And just
right.
Jessica! Let me woo you into friendship so I could steal your identity.
Right. Jessica still seems hesitant, but starts hanging out with her. Once their friendship is solidified, CW breaks into Jessica's room and steals her passport, causing Jessica to come running to her for comfort as expected. So CW takes her to the house Madison had rented out after her room was broken into, under the guise that it belongs to her. But they are soon met by Ryan as he's waiting there to propose to Madison, and it's, like, awkward. Like, Madison never mentioned that you were staying here. why are you saying this is your house kind of stuff.
Yeah, like she's getting caught in her lies a little bit. Mm-hmm. And like, did she not think that eventually he might come and look for her?
I guess she thinks that since he bailed on her, he didn't care.
Oh,
and that they broke up.
Yeah. No, she messed up here a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So CW is forced to change her story on the spot, saying that Madison had allowed her to stay there, and tries to convince Ryan that Madison doesn't want anything to do with him. Jessica is instantly suspicious, and when Ryan mentions that Madison's room was broken into, she sees the pattern and tries to leave.
See, I like this a lot because I feel like other movies, she might try to like wait a little bit longer or like try to investigate. She's like,
no.
She knows
as soon as she gets a bad feeling, she's like out.
Right. I was like, and that's how normal people would probably react.
Right. Like you wouldn't just wait around like, I hope she doesn't kill me tonight. Like,
yeah. Or like, I'm going to dig and try to find out like montage of her trying to figure out who CW really is.
Right. Like,
no.
Let me find out who's Madison or something like that. The most she does to really research it is she messages her on Instagram to see if she'll reply. But CW now has her phone. So she's like alerted to the fact that she knows that they're on to her. So if anything, that kind of ruined it for her.
Yeah, she did kind of mess up there. But at least she was like immediately like, I need to probably not be here anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's an actual realistic.
Yeah, I was rooting for Jessica all the way. I was like, please, girl.
Yeah, me too.
Run.
Run as fast as you can.
However, right as she's sneaking out of the house, she's confronted by CW, who beats her to death and hides her body in a suitcase. She beats her with the heel of her shoe, and it looks like she was about to like pierce her windpipe. And I was like,
yeah.
It's like, please don't show me.
Yeah, they don't. Thank God.
And I was like, I don't need to see.
I don't need to see this poor woman.
CW then starts to work on Ryan, telling him how Madison doesn't deserve him and ran off to sleep with other men.
Bitch.
Yeah, like, I was like, you were defending her 2 minutes ago about how, like, he needs to get out of her life and stuff like that. And now you're like, if I had a man travel all this way for little old me. Like, I was like,
girl. No, ma'am.
No.
Like another red flag. I'd be like, okay, so now you're changing stories.
Right.
So that's suspicious.
Yeah. Honestly, Ryan should have been like, as soon as Jessica left, like, out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, where's Jessica?
I mean, he does ask. Like, he's curious in a sense. But if anything, he's doing the opposite of Jessica and, like, researching more into it before he does anything about it.
Right. Exactly. No, just go.
Just go.
At this point, it's safe to assume. Okay, so like if he knew Madison's room was broken into, did he know Jessica's room was also broken into?
I think they were about to talk about it when CW kind of like approaches them and changes the subject.
Oh, but that's right, because they were on the like water.
But I think she does actually say like that happened to me too. And when CW comes up, she's like, "Oh, I was just talking about how my room was broken into," and she's like, "Oh, well, that surprisingly happens a lot here."
Now I'd be like, who's the common denominator here? Charleston, Worthington,
CW,
CW. Oh my God, yeah, Ryan, men,
yeah, you in danger. You in danger.
You in danger, girl.
While out one night, CW roofies him, takes him back to the house, and stages the room and him to look as though they've slept together. And I was like, "Girl,
yeah, it's bad." I mean. I don't think there any penetration happens, but
like just enough to question.
She's still violating him.
Yeah,
like he's
like she strips him down.
Yeah, I was like, this is uncomfortable to watch.
It is, and
she's crazy. Like she obviously killed 2 people at this point, but like she is willing to go at any length to cover her tracks. There's no moral bone in her body at this point. And it's so uncomfortable to watch, but it really demonstrates like how messed up she is.
Yeah. Like, yeah, she violates him, but she doesn't actually, I don't think there's penetration, but she does take out a condom to like throw on the floor and make it look like we forgot. Like,
yeah, an unused, I mean, it wasn't used, but also not used.
And then kind of like lays on his naked body basically and sleeps there until morning. Like, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, girl, no. Stop it.
So Ryan wakes up confused but resolves to leave. Elsewhere in Thailand, Ryan looks into Madison's social media account, disproving that she was with another man. He reminisces about when they first met and how he encouraged her to be an influencer.
This was sad when they first met.
I was like, oh, like I thought he was a douche in the beginning. And I was like, the more we get to know him, the more I'm like, is Ryan supposed to be the one we're rooting for now?
Yeah, no, he was terrible at first.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get to know him. And I don't know if it's more like they both kind of fell into the influencer lifestyle that made him the way he is. Not to, like, excuse his behavior, because you never should excuse behavior like that. But it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, like,
if they both kind of fell into that.
Right. Like, he kind of, like, sees a spark in her, you know, when they first start dating. And then they, like, take off with it. And he's, like, her manager in a way. And I think he just kind of got overwhelmed with all of that rather than their relationship. Yeah. But he still loved her. He was preparing to propose, but yeah, not great. They still needed to work out some stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because, like, when you see them in the past, they were lovely. Like, he seemed very charming. Yeah. It could have been a ruse, but I really don't think so.
I think they were genuine. If they wanted to do that, there would have been, like, some sort of surprise attack from him or something.
Yeah, I think it was just their lifestyle that they fell into.
Yeah.
But I was like,
because I mean, I feel like even Madison was, like, struggling between, like, the influencer persona and, like, what she was really like as a person.
Yeah, because it seemed, you know, earlier she would put on her persona and then she just seemed like she didn't really care for it all that much and she was just going through the motions. Because at this point in the flashback, she says she barely ever posts at all.
Yeah.
So it obviously wasn't, like, a thing she
was doing before.
Sought out, you know. This flashback, like, it was really sad. I actually thought this is where it was ending.
Yeah.
Like, you see he's leaving. She's going to get away with it. You just assume Madison's dead.
All right.
I thought the movie was ending at this point. I was like, no! It was very sad.
Yeah.
I was upset.
Actually, this kind of, like, just encourages him to dive further into her Instagram pictures. And he notices a glitch in, like, one of the more recent photos for, like, when she was gone. And when he explores it further, he realizes that the images are photoshopped pictures of CW posing as Madison, and she's just kind of, like, airbrushed her face to make it look like her and changed the voice and stuff. And she even calls him at one point to pretend to be her. And she's just, like, writing it into it so then a voice says it. It was, like, weird.
It's weird because, like, when you watch it, you could very clearly tell it's not a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's just some kind of, like, technology to disguise her voice and superimpose Madison's face on her body because she wears a wig actually, so that's not even like her hair.
Right, she just kind of, like, substitute the face somehow in the photo, and
that is so much work.
It's so weird. I
mean, when we covered bodies, we talked about how much work a podcast is. Like, could you imagine?
But taking on someone, especially as an influencer, you know, like, they post all the time. They're always advertising something.
That's too much work.
I mean, granted, it's kind of like where we're trying to be, but but it's also like, ugh. I'm tired.
Yeah, but I just couldn't imagine having to, like, film it with you and then go in.
Oh, and then not to also be disingenuous.
Yeah, because then you have to edit it to make it sound like her and then look like her and blah.
Yeah.
That's too much. It's too much work.
Yeah, which was why I was, like, wondering, like, since she got bored with it so quickly, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this was just a mistake. And then she's like, no, I think it would be better if I did it with somebody else. Like, what?
No,
it's going to happen again.
Either way, you have to put in the work, honey.
Yeah, it's just weird.
No, she just has nothing else to do.
He realizes Madison has been abducted and tries to force CW to take him to where she's hiding Madison. However, she quickly attacks and drowns him. I was like, man.
Yeah, they were about to go on the boat.
Yeah, because he found, like, her journal or something about the last day she was there. And I think it's on the boat because he's, like, searching the whole property for stuff from her or whatever to find out where she was. And he finds a journal from Madison that she wrote, like, CW's taking me to this beautiful island. It was so far away.
Yeah, it was in the house.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, because he comes back to the house and CW's not there.
Oh, yes. And that's when he finds it. Okay.
Because she burns a bunch of Madison's stuff, but she keeps the journal.
Like, well, probably because it's, like, a weird thrill for her.
Yeah, I was going to say, girl, if you're going to burn anything, that's the thing you got to burn.
The one that describes the crime?
That describes absolutely everything that happened? Yeah, probably get rid of that. Yeah, and then they were about to go on the boat, and she evades him, and then kills him.
Yeah.
I was like, not Ryan. No. Now Ryan's fucking dead. I was like, how does this end?
Right.
Like, she's taking out everybody.
Yeah.
She's going to get away with it.
Yeah, I felt like it. Yeah. She takes his body and the suitcase containing Jessica back to the island to dump them, but is shocked when she doesn't see Madison's body. She goes around looking for her,
Well, she sees signs that she's still alive. Like, Madison was notching.
Well, and then Madison noticed that when she first got there, that there was only like a few tally marks, but it looked like you were like counting days or something like that. And she was like, oh, weird. And then, CW tells her that weird thing about leaving her there for days. And she's like, huh. Okay. She's so silly. We're just best friends being silly.
What a silly joke from this woman I knew for 3 days. And I just let her take me to a mysterious island where she then proceeds to tell me that she's going to leave me here and let me die. Mm-hmm. How fun.
Yeah.
Madison, girl, honey.
But somehow she's made it.
Survival skills at a 10.
Right.
She knows what's
She
up.
attacks her out of nowhere, like blitz attacks.
She does say she learned survival skills from Girl Scouts. She did mention that.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, I guess that makes
done fucked up because she told her she knows what to do.
Oh, okay.
So you fucked with the wrong woman.
She must have just thought she was, like a little kid, so it doesn't matter. Like,
oh no, she took that to heart.
Mm-hmm.
She practiced.
She hits her with a shovel or something. So, yeah, she jumps out and attacks CW. Madison steals CW's boat and takes it back to civilization, presumably. But the film ends with CW watching the influencer ride off with a smile. And we're like, oh.
Why are you smiling?
Is this what you've been hoping for? Like,
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But I feel bad that, because Ryan's under a tarp, his body.
She sees him.
That's so, could you imagine, surviving that? Getting on your escape boat and then
realizing your boyfriend came for you and then
he's fucking dead.
He's dead. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why was she proud of you for besting. I don't know why she was smiling.
I don't know. I think it was just to make it creepy, but
okay. Cool. So that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking CW sucks. But I will say the performance was really good.
Yes.
I'm like, girl,
she was very captivating, and I was like, "Wow, girl! Explain to me why you're doing this."
I know. Yeah, you don't really know why, outside of maybe being bored.
Well, I think you can only assume that she feels like she's not good enough to do social media on her own. Because whenever they get a picture of her on accident, she just happens to be in the background, she seeks people out to delete these photos of her. Or she covers her face or turns away or something like that. So I think it's partially because she doesn't like the way she looks.
And maybe she's just trying to live her life.
Live being an influencer through someone else. But then I guess maybe the persona's too hard to keep up, so she tries again with somebody else.
Yeah, I was going to say, why do you keep...
I don't know. I feel like once you got comfortable doing it, it's easier to hide one body than multiples.
Yeah, can we just, if you're going to ruin one person's life, can we just stick to that person and not, ruin 3?
Yeah. Or I wonder if it's based on the fact that she can't succeed on her own. Because Ryan was saying, going through the recent photos, look at this sucks, or something like that. As if she couldn't, take the photos right or something like that.
Oh, yeah. And also, was someone talking about Madison about how she just had something special, saying that to CW's face?
Yeah. When they go out right before she roofies him, he says that she had that spark.
Oh, yeah.
And Jessica has it. And he's like, yeah, you could probably do something with some help. You could probably be it if you wanted. And
if you wanted. If you would try a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. If you didn't look so tired. No, honestly, he seems like he genuinely would help her if she asked, but I don't know. She just takes that as nah.
Yeah. That's probably what it is. She's just jealous and feels like she can't do it on her own, so she's like, I'll just take it then.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
Yeah. How did you rate this?
So initially, before seeing it, again, I took a wild stab. I gave it a 5, and I would probably drop it to a 4. Just because it's not scary, per se. It's thrilling, I will say. And I hate saying it's not scary but thrilling, because thriller is, in my opinion, a category of scary.
Yeah.
So when I say that, I'm not trying to belittle the scariness of something, but it's less traditionally scary and more just edge of your seat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, I would bump it down just a tad.
Okay. I watched the trailer and I saw the island imagery and I was like, maybe it'll be a little scary. So I was like, maybe a 6.
Mm-hmm.
But I did bump it down to a 4 because I was like, it's not too scary, just thriller-esque. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she kills people. It's not the cleanest thing.
Yeah, it's not great.
And she does assault him, so it's mature in that way.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
Yeah, so I'm comfortable with the 4.
Yeah, because the scary person, bad guy, is CW.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say just a woman. That's not what I mean by that. But like, it's not like a scary monster.
Right.
Or
and
something.
She's not like, I don't know, like she is lurking out there, but she's not like jump scaring people and stuff like that.
There's like no jump scare at all in this movie, I don't think, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I think jump scares could be really cheap if done poorly.
No, and I think I liked watching it from her perspective. And I think it's kind of having a renaissance moment too, with people being interested in hearing these kind of stories from like the killer's perspective, like with You and stuff like that from Netflix and other, that Ted Bundy movie and stuff like that, where it's from his perspective. Or
violent nature.
Yeah. But I thought it was just interesting from her perspective because we had been following Madison for the first 20 minutes. So I thought as soon as she got left on the island, I was like, oh, it's all about how she's going to get back.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. I thought it was going to be like a revenge thing. She comes back. Because like when it moved to CW, I thought we were going to get her living her life. And I thought at some point, Madison was going to show up to the house and beat the shit out of her. That's what I thought.
Curb stomp her.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It was going to be like this intense revenge thing, and like maybe we watch CW trying to escape her for a little bit, but that's not how that happened. But it still ended up being a revenge at the end, just not how I anticipated it happening.
Right. I almost wondered too if before CW's left or something, it's like what if their boat like sailed out to the ocean and it was just them stuck, and then Madison figures out that she was going to leave her there, kind of thing, like what that would do to them, or because CW still wants her dead, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
could have gone a couple different ways. I'm not mad at how it happened. I wish Ryan didn't die though.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I was like,
I just started coming around to him.
Right. Like you bothered to show us all his flashbacks and stuff, and him figuring it out, and then you kill him off.
It did have emotional impact though, and I appreciate that because. I was like, oh.
But she's like so traumatized, like she barely even reacts when she sees his body. Like,
oh yeah, she's probably far beyond like any sort of emotional recognition right now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh well.
Oh well, she said. Oh well.
That be life.
Hot damn.
Oh, I forgot something that I forgot to mention in the plot too. Before she kills off Ryan, she writes this whole scathing review about him, basically saying that Madison had been in a domestic abuse relationship with him for 3 years. And we see her talking to like her one influencer friend here briefly, and Ryan calls him when he's trying to figure out what happened with Madison. And as soon as this news comes out, he comes out with a video and he's like, I never trusted Ryan. He was bad and stuff like that. I was like, wow.
But also, if you remember when Ryan called Madison's friend the first time, he said something along the lines of, you can do better than Madison. And then he turns on him
and I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, he's fake as fuck. I was like, damn.
This guy's the worst.
Yeah. And he's like in 2 scenes. 3.
Right.
I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
like,
when he talks to Madison too, he's like, so what? Your boyfriend didn't show up. He's letting you go on this really cool, expensive vacation, and you're getting all these cool product brands and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but he bailed.
Yeah.
It's like, so?
Okay.
So he kind of just seems shitty to everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we get into our topic, we're going to cut to a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Dead Podcast. I'm your host, Desi, and on this podcast, I discuss all things spooky and weird, from ghosts, demons, religion, to folklore, urban legends, true crime, and all things paranormal, with some horror movie reviews sprinkled in. So join me on this spooky ride.
So this is going to be a little exhaustive to explain for me. Oh,
goodness.
But it's some internet tea, and it's fun.
Internet tea.
So while what CW did was extreme, I found a writer's experience with a friend turned influencer very interesting in comparison to this movie, with how a person can idealize another but can't achieve what they admire in that person for themselves, and how the reality of that life that they covet isn't always what it seems. So there's this article about this woman that was a ghostwriter for a friend that became an influencer. The article is called From the Cut, titled The Story of Caroline Calloway and her ghostwriter Natalie, and it delves into the complex relationship between Caroline Calloway, a prominent Instagram influencer, and Natalie Beach, her friend and collaborator. And I kind of like broke down the points of their relationship because she really goes into it beat by beat.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this is like scathing. Like, if you wrote this about your friend, like, you're not speaking anymore.
Ooh, Shiza. So the influencer
is Caroline.
And then the
ghostwriter is Natalie.
Did everything for her.
Yes.
So she was like Caroline was like the face of the operation. And then Natalie was doing the actual work.
Yes.
That sucks. Like, damn, Natalie. I would have been doing it myself.
Yeah. I'll explain a little bit about it. So Caroline Calloway gained fame on Instagram for her candid diary-like captions chronicling her life as an American undergraduate at Cambridge University. She amassed a substantial following, nearly 800,000 followers, and was known for her storytelling prowess and aspirational lifestyle. Apparently, she got started by posting this weird picture of macaroons, like, all lined up with, like, the different colors and stuff like that, and she got so many followers that it kind of just, like, sparked everything.
From macaroons?
From macaroons, and people, like, just envied wanting this, like, weird, luxurious life she had kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, like, in the very beginnings of Instagram. And Natalie Beach met her in this creative nonfiction workshop in NYU during one summer, and she was a writer and ended up collaborating with Caroline. And she kind of explains herself to be not as captivating as Caroline, how, like, she's kind of mystified by Caroline. She's like this kind of girl that can get anything from anyone. She walks into a bar, people order her drinks. She could just ride away with some stranger and they would take her home or something like that. She's completely enthralled by this girl and, like, the whimsy and magic of her life.
Oh, okay.
So it starts off with admiration, and she just, like, kind of forms this relationship with this influencer. Then the article explores how Natalie transitioned from admirer to collaborator. So she began helping Caroline with her writing, initially providing feedback and eventually co-writing content for Caroline's Instagram captions. Natalie's writing helped Caroline maintain her online persona, contributing to the allure that attracted Caroline's followers. So she describes that this trip that they went on, when Caroline decided, like, you know, I'm going to take these macaroon photos and I'm going to, like, spark my whole career as an influencer, and I'm going to get a memoir and everything from all these posts about my life. And so she goes on this trip to, I believe they said it was Venice. And quickly she realizes that Caroline's posing for these photos and Natalie's her photographer of sorts, and is kind of, like, forced to look around her stuff and try not to get in the shot and stuff like that. So she finds that she's kind of, like, working for her. And she writes that she realized later on, like, what she wrote about the trip seemed kind of like a red flag, but after all, she kind of brushed it under the rug, that it wasn't as bad as an experience as she thought. Okay. But when they came home, they had several delayed flights due to wind. So she lost the money on her tickets and couldn't get them refunded. So she felt like she owed Caroline money because Caroline paid her way back.
Okay.
So she offers to write captions for her Instagram and keep going with that kind of stuff. And that fall, once they go back to school, Natalie doesn't have enough money to make her rent on her apartment. So she's asking Caroline if she could sublease her apartment because she doesn't stay in New York during the school year. And at first, Caroline says, sure, but then she comes back later on and says that actually her family lost a lot of money with, like, gold stock or something like that, and now the apartment has to be an Airbnb, but you can clean it. And for $200 a week.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so she kind of, like, begrudgingly takes this job of sorts, and she writes about the first day she comes, like, the apartment's trash. She just, like, took off with, like, a bunch of trash everywhere, and the bed's soiled and everything, and she's also coming off of just being sexually assaulted on the date before she got there that morning.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and the date's still, like, texting her about it the next day. She tries to confront Caroline over Skype and be like, I don't want to be your maid, but couldn't you get somebody else to do this? And Caroline's like, oh, sure I could, but you seem the most desperate.
The most desperate?
Yeah, you need the money the most.
Okay, there's a way to say that without calling someone desperate.
Yeah.
You seem like the most pathetic one, so, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Tight. Thanks, Carolyn. That's
yeah. So then she goes a bit into, like, her job history and stuff like that. Like, she's painting fences and stuff like that while Carolyn's having these, like, magical adventures traveling in Europe and writing these dramatic posts about the guy of the week that she's met. Oh. She meets a boyfriend that, like, wanted to show her around on college campus the first day. Just, like, things just happened to her. Like, doors just open for her being there.
Oh, wow. Must be nice.
Yeah. So she explains how their collaboration extended to more significant projects, including a book proposal that Natalie helped write. So she wanted to turn all of her Instagram posts into this memoir. And she got an offer for it.
That's insane.
Like $375,000 for the offer, I believe, was the exact amount. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they had made some sort of verbal agreement that Natalie would get 35%.
Get it in writing, guys. No matter what you do, if you are making a deal with someone, get it in writing.
Yes.
Always.
But then there was issues with Caroline constantly delaying or not wanting to finish the book because she was going through stuff. I mean, granted, I did try to find it from her perspective. I guess her father did die at one point, and she comes out later on to have an Adderall addiction, which we discussed a little bit here too.
Okay.
But still, like, she keeps postponing this book, and her friends trying to keep her head above water, basically being like, I wrote some of the chapters of the book for you, and I posted to the publisher to, like, hold them off so they won't drop your deal. And Caroline comes back and says, please stop. If you write any more of my book, I'll kill myself.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Like, she just hates everything that she does. So she still wants input in her book, but she won't keep writing it.
So, wait. Natalie was ghostwriting this book. And then Carolyn said she'll kill herself?
Yeah, because she still wanted input, but, like, she wanted to send Natalie, like, notes on her phone of, like, fragmented pieces of her life and stuff like that Natalie would have to turn into writing. But then Carolyn doesn't do that, so Natalie's trying to create a story off of what she has, which is nothing, but, she knows her. She says she's basically Carolyn at this point, and Carolyn hates that she's doing it for her.
But nothing will get done then. What the actual...
It's messed up, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Oy caramba.
So eventually they find out that Carolyn actually bought half of her following. She didn't take off with a macaroon photo. She actually worked with a bunch of advertisers, like took a big spot of advertisement and got a lot of followers, like pretty much half of her following.
Wow.
So Natalie's like, well, that could ruin us if they find out that it's not, like, genuine. But they keep going forward, and Carolyn has a bunch of public controversy all of a sudden where she tries to sell a creativity workshop, which drew comparisons to the failed fire festival.
Oh, great. Lovely.
Yeah, like, she bought a bunch of mason jars, but then didn't think about where they would be housed for the event. Like,
mason jars for what?
She wanted to give everyone their flowers and soil.
Oh, okay.
But then she only had, like, a New York apartment, so she had, like, 1,200 mason jars and didn't have anywhere to put them.
Good.
Like, she just does some, like, off-brand, like, well, not off-brand.
Off-brand?
But,
it's
like,
very much on-brand. Carolyn's crazy.
This is on-brand. She does some wackadoo stuff. Like, one time, Natalie flies out to write with her in her apartment, because most of the time they were writing over Zoom. And because Carolyn had told their publisher, like, I'm going through it, I can't write anymore. So she's like, don't worry, I'll come and help you. I'll be right there. And she finds that Carolyn has ripped up all the flooring of her apartment. It's like to the point where they're stepping on nails, like on the floor. And
why did she do that? Don't know.
Cuckoo, I don't know.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And even while Natalie's, like, trying to, like, save her, writing her out of this slump that she's in, Caroline's online buying furniture. Like,
oh, okay.
And she was trying to rationalize, like, yeah, everyone needs furniture, but does she need furniture right now?
Like right this second with her nail floor?
Right.
Oh my God.
Natalie, in the article, reflects on their friendship, describing moments of both admiration and disillusionment, especially as Caroline navigated the pressures of social media fame. At one point, they hung out at a bar, and like I said, Caroline always got, like, all male attention. So at one point, they get drinks sent to their table, and Natalie goes over to thank the people that sent over the drinks and tries to give them her number. But then they laugh at her as she walks away, and when she turns around, Caroline's, like, disappeared and just, like, ran off somewhere.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, and, like, leaving her coat behind, like, no regard. Like, and
you know what this sounds like? Have you ever seen, I forget who does it, but it's this girl who does Ariana Grande impersonations. Have you ever seen her?
No.
She just posted one, like, if Ariana Grande breaks into her house and into your house, and she's just running around. She's like, hee 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 hee, and just, like, running around, and she's, like, trying to wrangle her to stop her. She's like, oh yeah, hee hee. It's so funny.
That sounds about like this person.
Like just trying to like get her to stop or like sit still. I just imagine this Caroline woman just like running around like a child. And like this Natalie girl's trying to like stop her.
That's basically how it sounds.
Oh my God.
And another example, and I promise it's getting to the end here.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I'm getting bored. I'm tired of Natalie and Caroline's bullshit.
Another example, they're at another bar, like separate time, and a bartender is flirting with them. And Caroline like encourages Natalie to go for it, like he's cute, why not? And Natalie's like, well, men don't look at me like they look at you. And she's like, just try it, you never know. And Caroline takes off for the night on the stranger's bike. She has a boyfriend, but she takes off on some stranger's bike. And Natalie decides to flirt with the bartender, who says that he can't take her back to his place, but they can do it in the stall of the bathroom there if she really wants. But she's like, yeah, no, and asks him to take her home. And Caroline's not there. And she told her that she would be there writing because she also has school to do. But Caroline doesn't do school.
Caroline doesn't do anything except run around and be lost.
Yeah, so she's locked out of Caroline's place, and she describes like the most awful night where like every time she ran into a man, they were harassing her like for the whole evening.
Great. Cool.
And it's awful. And the whole time she's trying to call Carolyn, and it's so sad and depressing. And she says that she finally waited on her stoop and rang the doorbell again in the morning. And Caroline answers the door yawning, like, where have you been? Like, she's like, where have you been? I've been calling you. And she's like, I thought you were home with the bartender. No, I've been trying to call you and you didn't even notice. Like, so it was like that kind of shit back and forth. And like they kept on having issues with their book deal. So finally, Natalie realizes, like, I need to stop this. I need to focus on other things. So she gets a job and emails Caroline that she's quitting, like, I can't do this with you anymore. Yeah. But sometimes Caroline just will, like, message her and she'll be, like, enthralled again with her. Like, I don't know. She sounds like she speaks magic or something. She's, like,
hypnotized by her or something.
Like, she just feels like she just wants to be in her gravitational pull. And finally, Natalie discusses the emotional toll of her collaboration with Caroline, including feelings of exploitation and the realization that her contributions were not always acknowledged or compensated appropriately. Because sometimes she would look at these posts and people would be like cheering, like, yay, Caroline, you wrote such a great thing or something like that. And she's like, I wrote a great thing. Like, Caroline didn't. Like,
Caroline sucks and didn't do the whole thing.
Yeah. And the article portrays a nuanced relationship where admiration, friendship, and professional collaboration intersected with complexities and challenges. And she eventually ends the article with how she reached out to her and told her she would be publishing like an essay about how she treated her over the years and stuff like that. And Caroline comes back with like, I love you, but if you post this, like, I'll be ruined.
Yeah, that's the point.
And she's kind of like, well, good luck with that. Like, because she posted it.
Yeah, good.
But she says that, it doesn't matter. She's essentially a scammer. Like, she had been scamming her this whole time because she has this crazy life. And even her life isn't always as glamorous as she appears because she's really hopped up on Adderall half the time and doing all this weird shit. Like, so she says that she suspected either way that Caroline would post like her emails to her Instagram just to get more attention. But I suspected if I sent Caroline that email, she would just screenshot it and post it to her feed like she did my first message, turning a moment between us into just another chapter in the story she can't stop telling.
Oh my God. Hot damn. I've never heard of this woman before, but now I need to look her up.
Yeah, she's crazy. She did actually go through with posting the memoir. She must have got another ghostwriter.
Yeah, apparently.
But I just thought it was really similar into how, like, you can envy someone so much, but they are also terrible to you. Like,
yeah, that sucks. Damn, Caroline. And Natalie.
Yeah.
Girl.
I felt bad for her, but she is doing well. Like, they want to do like a televised version of this, I think, for her.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Watch the shit.
I would watch this.
I'm very interested.
I love the tea.
Oh, that was very interesting. I like that. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, giving us a 5-star rating is super helpful, and we always appreciate it.
You can find us on social media using 13 Degrees of Screams.
This has been 13 Degrees of Screams, and we will see you next week.